Hello, this is Happy from Team Envious, and you are listening to TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Hello. The date, May 27th, 2019. The time, 8:55 p.m., starting a little late, but it's Memorial Day. We had family stuff. You know how it goes. This is episode 159, coming to you live, pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. This will be the best episode ever. This is the, for new listeners, in case you didn't know, episode 1 of new TCR without Brett. As he is no longer part of the show. We fired him. We said, look, dude, you're out. You're out. So we still have a Nuge, though. Hello, Nuge.
What up, bud? How are you?
What up? What up?
We're kind of looking for, we need a certain physique, right? We're looking for people with six packs, ripped, people that are, jacked, eat healthy,
Good
motivated, good looking. That's what we need in this crew. And you know what? We took a vote. You know the results if you're watching.
And of course, my name is Tim. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone had a good, long holiday weekend, good Memorial Day weekend. For whatever people do on that. Follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Let us know what you think of the show. We would love to hear from you. And all that fun stuff. If you're listening on iTunes or any other outlet that lets you review the show, go ahead and do that when you find free time. We definitely appreciate it. And we do read them. So you can be honest there, and we definitely take the criticism. Shout out to Doug for letting us know our Twitter picture had a typo in it this entire time. I went ahead and I fixed it. So shout out, Doug. Thank you. And we also stream on Twitch. Border's in the chat. What up, Border? We're going to have a lot to discuss today. We have e-news to wrap up the show. Tons of stuff to get there. Nate Nanzer, Overwatch League Commissioner, or should I say former Overwatch League Commissioner, stepped down and moved over to Epic. We will talk about that. DreamHack Dallas is this weekend, so we will give our DreamHack Dallas Survival Guide. And to start the show, though, let's kind of pick up where we left off last week, Anuj, if you will, and break down a little bit more of this Tfue versus FaZe Part 2, if you will. Obviously, to catch people up, Tfue suing FaZe Clan, his organization, for basically wanting out of it. Last week we discussed it. It just kind of broke the first day. Well, now there's a lot more information. A lot more details. You had FaZe Banks talking about it. You had Tfue talking about it. So we want to play a little bit of audio. I don't know how do you want to start, Anuj? Do you want to start with Banks? Because we can go in chronological order. That might make the most sense.
Yeah, go with Banks's, and then we'll go Tfue after that.
All right. So Banks, for those who don't know, is did he start FaZe?
Yeah, he was one of the original creators of FaZe. So there's a group of 4 of them, basically. I think Apex, him. Oh man, I don't even remember the other 2, but I think there's 4 of them, and Banks and Apex are the main guys out there.
All right, and fair warning, I don't really understand the editing done in this video. It was really weird. A ton of editing, by the way. So if it sounds goofy, that's what it was. For whatever reason, 80% of it had all the swear words edited out, but then 20% was left in. I don't understand.
They were trying to get that PG-13 rating.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, wait, does YouTube have a quota for how many F-bombs you can drop and they'll pull it? I don't understand. So if you're listening in the car with children, tell them earmuffs because there are swear words. So let's start with this. This was Banks right off the bat talking about the legal strategy behind Tfue suing the org.
This is legal strategy 101. You don't let people know the storm's coming, and I'm those people that he didn't let know it was coming, and you just fucking sucker punch him. You hit him from behind, and you catch him off guard. Well, you caught me, dude. I'm completely off guard.
And this was mainly focusing around the fact that, he had no idea it was coming. The fact that Tfue's big argument originally, or part of it, was the fact that they made him do things and the fact that they made him drink underage. Well, even in Tfue's video came out and said, I told my guys to not include that, and it was still there. I am not suing them over that, which we said last week.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that he told them to take it out, like not have it in there prior to I think they wanted it to come out and then let him redact it because it had already been released.
Yeah.
In like public perception, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I don't believe the lawyers went behind Tfue's back and said, "No, we're still going to put this out there." Like that's not how
100%.
that works. That's not how it
It
works.
was very calculated, including his response.
Yeah, right. And so I don't believe that. But you know what? It was so ridiculous of a point last week because I even mentioned, like, dude, I don't know why Tfue was all of a sudden coming out trying to act like he was some choir boy. Like, you have videos out there, dude, of you partying, of you doing stupid stuff. Like,
he shot a dude in the cheek with the BB gun, like through it. Like the guy wanted him to shoot the BB gun through his cheek. And that was like one of the first things he did when he joined FaZe, you know, like he already kind of a skateboarder doing like, you know, trick videos. He has some already prior to this. Like it's not like they threw him in a situation where like, hey, all this stuff you've never done, let's all do it for the first time right now.
Right. So that's completely now redacted from the case. And I will also mention this because I did bring it up last week, and I guess in retrospect, I kind of felt bad saying that FaZe is a shady organization. I am looking at this completely separate from their previous situation of being caught up in a gambling scandal. Because in my eyes, I was like, no, you know what? It's not surprising that FaZe is doing all this because they've already proven that they're willing to scam you and kids out of money. So of course they're going to scam their own guys out of money, which I still believe, but I'm not going to include that in my opinion of this. I'm being a good.
That was like the Tfue freaking apology statement right there. You threw out all the hate and then brought it back around and be like, it's not part of it.
Bring it back. You got to bring it back around, Anuj. That's how you play both sides. That's
Good
like
Lord.
Both sides of it. I'm not going to bring up the fact that FaZe is shady. Not going to do it. I'm not going to say that Banks is the Jake Paul of esports. I'm not gonna let personal biases get involved here. So this is the next clip I have here. FaZe Banks was talking about credit throughout this whole thing of Tfue being with FaZe, which, by the way, for those who don't know, you would think this was like a lifelong friendship. Nah, this is like a year and a half that like Tfue has been a part of FaZe, and probably only like 2, maybe 3 years where he's been friends with Banks. This was not like Banks was acting like it was like his brother who just betrayed him. We'll get all to it. I want to get through the audio, then we can kind of talk about it.
And I love him, I really do. But that's not what's at question. He gets all that credit. He has all that credit. He's been given all that credit. But you know who has gotten none of the credit? Zero. And who's never asked for any of the credit? Me.
Now that's a common theme throughout his entire, it's like 20 minutes or something. It's pretty long.
Yeah, it's a long one.
His video is pretty long, is the credit, right? I feel like he was definitely doing this to show people like, yo, I deserve most of the credit being involved. Like, did you get that vibe?
Like yes, he did state it several times, but I also think that was, again, intentional to let out because like there was no credit, like in the sense like you didn't think of Banks when you thought of Tfue coming to FaZe. So I understand where he's coming from. You know, even if he knew him for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, like picture being in that situation where you are an org and as big as FaZe was, Tfue still helped take him to another level. This guy really came from nowhere for the most part. Like, I mean, it's just fact. It's not like he was a big name household name prior to joining FaZe. So
Hmm.
I do understand
And there's
like the
numbers to prove
resentment.
that.
Yeah, like it's all there. Like it all backs what they're saying. The question comes into play is when we get into Tfue side is obviously the contractual issues were really the main like the whole. It wasn't like the relationship fell apart. I guess is what I'm saying. This is really like a contract situation that is being taken to the next level because of the lawsuit.
Right. Again, common theme throughout all of Banks' speech was saying like, "Hey, I was there. I helped him out, and here's a little bit of that."
I feel horrible right now, and I don't feel horrible because of something I did. I feel horrible because I feel wronged, honestly. I want you guys to feel me on this, like really feel me on this. Because
First off, I love that right there. I want to. If we were popular enough, I would make that a meme. I want you to really feel me, like just feel me on this, and dude, really feel like guys. I know I'm doing this to kind of speak my mind, but I want you to feel me on this moment here.
it's tough, man. Like, it's tough. I'm struggling with this right now. It's bothering me to my fucking core. To my fucking core. Man, everything, dude, everything. All the scandals you've been a part of with the getting banned on Twitter, I was there for all of it. I helped you figure all of it out by your side, homie, by your side. Everything down to your thumbnails and titles. There's a long, long, long list of a DM chat between me, his thumbnail guy, his editor, and Tfue. And in the early stages of Tfue, his thumbnails were trash. He didn't know how to title a YouTube video to save his fucking life. But I sat there every single day and helped him on every single one. Now he knows what he's doing, and that's great.
You know what? I'm gonna save my thought until we get through all the audio. That way we can just have a conversation about it
Yeah.
because I feel like in Banks's argument, to your point that you just mentioned on the last one, it's like this is a contract dispute, not who did what or who deserves credit, you know? And I feel like in
Yeah.
Banks's video, he was trying to make that point. Like, look at all I did for Tfue. And Tfue's like, that's great, dude. But look at the contract. Right.
Yeah.
So I think they're arguing two different things. But we'll get through all the video here. This next clip here was Banks talking about money that he has made off of Tfue and FaZe.
Tfue.
Tfue. It was gonna happen eventually.
It
You want to
was.
know what I have gained from Tfue? Because this is another thing. I collect $0 from FaZe Clan. I collect no salary so that we can pay for these houses. That's a fun fact that none of you guys fucking know about. My company FaZe pays for both of our houses. I collect $0 because of it. And why? Because I love these houses. Because so many people's lives have changed. And that's what I love more than anything. I love to really take somebody, because I was a kid who played video games who was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And this logo, FaZe Clan, this shit saved my fucking life and changed my whole world. And I know what it meant to me, and I want to apply that to as many people as possible, people who deserve it.
You buy it?
Part of it, like I'm not as anti-FaZe as it seems like a lot of the community is right now. Like I see a lot of FaZe hatred out there, and I do buy part of it. Like I mean, I do feel like he is 100% dedicated to his organization. Like FaZe is like you got to understand, like FaZe is Banks's life. It's like
Right.
what he does. It's not like part time. It's not like how we do TCR.
I
Right,
would
we
like
have our
to
normal
imagine
jobs.
if we were like 19, 20, and we had the resources that video game and Twitch and YouTube offers now. Because a little tip for the listener: Anuj and I are older, and Anuj is even older than me. Back when we were kids, it
Thanks.
it was not a. Bro, you look great though. Uh,
25.
it wasn't like, yeah, you could do it, right? Because there are people our age who are wildly successful content creators, but like that was never in like a train of thought when I was younger. Yeah, I played video games competitively, and dare I say on a professional level. But even then, it was always this was something I was going to do until I graduated college, right? Or even made it to like senior year of college, and then I have to focus on my adult normal life.
Bro, YouTube didn't come out until I was in college. Okay?
Man,
So
you
think
are
about
old.
that. Like YouTube came out in 2005 and I was in college. As my sophomore year of college was '05. So, um yeah, content creation
Oh, 5 was your
today.
sophomore year of college?
Yeah, I graduated '03.
All right.
I
I won't
know.
let you know what my sophomore year of
I
college
know.
was.
Like 2009
Oh
or
05 was
something.
my sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, you're still old, dude. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, content creation now, like FaZe is a content creation group, right? Like kind of like Optic is almost to a certain extent. Like they got
Right.
one or two really good teams, obviously not counting now the Outlaws and all that, but um yeah, like it's just not the same today. Tfue obviously being a part of FaZe gained had a lot to gain. All he had was stuff to gain, right? There was no other way for him. So I do buy that Banks like invested heavily in him, but that was also Banks's job to do that, right? Like you're not going to bring this guy on and be like sink or swim, you know? Like if you're bringing somebody into
Right.
an organization and you see them skyrocketing and it's building your brand, you're also like the investment wasn't just for Tfue. From Banks' side, the motivation was this is for like for FaZe, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't
Well,
like
and I also think like Banks has this personality, and it's not a bad thing, but if he's bringing someone in, they're going to succeed. Like he doesn't know the meaning of you not succeeding under the FaZe brand. You know,
but there are a couple
anyone.
of FaZe streamers that are at like 100 to 200 viewers at the same time, right? So there are a couple of them out there
But
because I saw
but
this
what I
brought
but I
up.
think if he wants you to be in the
Yes.
spotlight, he knows how to market you. He knows how to make it to where, like, as he would say, look, homies, watch this guy.
Look,
You
it's
know,
going to be
watch him,
appealing to
pay
the
attention.
FaZe audience, right? Like, these guys were trick shotters when they first started off. So he knows how to appeal to the masses. Like that's what they did when they started off. It didn't start
Right.
off as like this cool COD team. Like these guys were cool trick shotters and evolved into an esports org. So yeah, I mean, both you're spot on when you say they're both kind of arguing different things here. Banks is upset from a personal side and an investment that he put into Tfue and feels betrayed from a friendship, standpoint. Where Tfue is coming in like, bro, I get it. We were friends. We are friends. Whatever you want to say they are now, I doubt they are. But um, my contract is Jack, so I don't want to play under this brand and release me or release the contract type thing. You know?
Yeah, that's a perfect segue. So I have two more clips from Banks here. This one is talking about how Tfue will regret it.
I wonder if you really understand what you just did. And I know your team of lawyers and your dad and stuff, I know they convinced you this was a good idea, but I promise you it wasn't. Maybe it is. Maybe it is for your career or what you have in mind for a career. And if you destroy part of FaZe in the process and you knock us down a couple pegs, if that's what your goal was, maybe you will succeed in that. Maybe you won't regret it from that standpoint, but as a human being, I think you will. Because I think you and I both know you've never met a person who went out of their way for you like I did. And this is before the money. This is before the fame. This is before the success. This is before your clout, your fucking bullshit clout, all this bullshit fucking internet. It's so disgusting, man. I reached out to you. I fucking extended my hand to you when you were a no one, when you were a nobody, and I believed in you, and I put everything I had into you. And all I can say is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this didn't work out.
This is where I think Banks. It's just so emotional. This is where I think Banks is screwing up. Is that obviously for him it's emotional, right? Like this to him is personal because he really did feel like uh, whether or not he's BSing, which I'm sure part
Yeah.
of this is BSing, right? Like Banks, as big of a doucher as he appears, the dude is really smart when it comes to brand, right? Like branding himself and FaZe. The dude knows if he makes this personal, if it makes it look like he's the victim, then his followers and people who are getting in on this, if this is your first time hearing about this and you watch his video, you're gonna think like, wow, Tifu's a jerk. Like these guys did all this for you, never took a dime, and relatively speaking, never took a dime, and now you want out. Like you're a big jerk. And I think that is 100% what Banks is doing. I think he is playing it up to try to make it seem like, my best friend just stabbed me in the back.
Look, he's got to rally the team, right? Like that's
Yeah,
that's what he's doing also. Just like how Tfue, did it the other way and came out with this lawsuit listing 100 things, and that was all negative perception towards FaZe. Banks has to come out and approach this the same way. Like I got to rally my troops type thing,
of
let
course.
people know the situation.
Because
So
see, for these guys too, because like Zen just said it in the chat. Like, let's be real, Tfue is also a jerk. This is all very true, and
Oh,
everyone knows
100%.
that. I mean, that's part
Yeah.
of the appeal for some of these guys, right? It's like, this guy doesn't give an F, right? He's such a jerk or whatever. Both of these guys have to rally their troops, as you said, Anuj, because after all this dust is settled, no matter which way it goes, right? Like, no matter who, if it ever gets to the courts, decides is right or wrong, like, they are still going to have a community backing them to succeed no matter what.
Yeah.
And
Both are going to be fine in that regard, honestly.
yeah,
Like,
but
you
you
know,
get what I'm
I
saying.
don't,
Like, they still have to
yeah.
play that part of, hey guys, who has my back on this? Because I think for them, that's just as important as who wins the court battle is who's going to win the public perception battle.
And in my eyes, you know, it's kind of an interesting point. I think Tfue gets hurt from this a little bit more than FaZe does as a whole, because I think Tfue is still going to have a huge following. That's not going to change. It's going to stay massive. He's too
Right.
good at what he does. But he did also create a situation to where he's alienated FaZe's fans. Like the true diehard FaZe fans are not gonna like this, right? Like they're not gonna like the way he approached this, the way he's trash talking, you know, the organization that I mean, FaZe has diehard fans, dude. Like
I mean, they're
you see
like
all these
Optic,
photos of,
right? They're like
yeah, it's
Envy.
the
In that
same
COD
thing. Like
scene, you get those
any
rabid
good
fans.
brand, right? Like any good brand has a diehard fan base, like FaZe does.
TCR.
And of course, same thing, you know, almost the same scale. And so, yeah, I do think that this is going to hurt him a little bit more because it will alienate him from some of the, you know, the phase team, like showgirls and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. And then I have one more clip of Banks. I think it's a shorter one though, and this is basically him putting an end to their relationship. Because keep in mind, FaZe originally tweeted out saying that they're going to continue working with Tfue, and we were like, really?
Okay.
Yeah, you're really gonna keep this one going?
FaZe Clan has changed so many people's lives, and you just spit on it and stomped on it. You took everything you could from it, you sucked it clean of everything you could get out of it, and then you fucking threw it in the trash. And how dare you? I'll never forgive you for this, homie.
Homie, never forgive you for it, homie. He says homie a lot, by the way. Uh, if I never have to hear FaZe up again, I'll be so happy.
I want to end the show the way he ends his thing, like
Just we gotta get a
TCR,
catchy slogan.
you know?
TCR up, bro. Look, I think the issue is here. You know what?
Play the Tfue
Let's
audio.
listen to Tfue, and then I want to say what I'm gonna say. So this is Tfue's response. Was pretty much like a day after Banks's response. It's not nearly as long. It's like 12 minutes.
No, it's 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's even shorter.
And
Beautiful
we're giving
scenery,
you
though.
50 seconds of his 2 minute.
Yes. Beautiful
2 minute
scenery,
nonsense
though. And
here.
I will give Tfue props. How he got his audio sounding so good while what appears to be on top of a mountain. Like,
Overlooking the FaZe house.
is that what was in the background?
No.
Oh,
No,
that would have been
that'd be
so
funny.
so funny if he just buys a house that's higher up the
Just
mountain.
one notch higher.
All right, let's listen to Tfue's response.
What I really want to talk about is the main point. I never wanted to upset anybody. I never wanted to bring that stuff in. I never wanted to get anybody to get emotional, because this isn't about that. This is about me and this contract. This contract that I signed when I didn't know any better. I'm an idiot. I should have never signed it in the first place. This 3-year contract. What is in this contract is so bizarre. It's so fucked. I wish you guys could see this thing, because I can't even fathom it. This contract basically allows FaZe at any point in the 3 years to just fucking take all my hard earnings and all my hard work and just strip it. Over 49%, over 79%. What is in this contract is insane.
So I see Twitch chat saying that he signed it, so it's his bad.
It is, though. He signed a 3-year agreement when he wasn't doing anything, like in the sense he was pulling in 100 to 200 viewers. maybe starting to spike a little bit, but at that point, FaZe rumors were already out there, so that's also a cause for some of the spike that you saw into his numbers prior to him signing. But yeah, now granted, is it a good contract? No, it's not one of the better contracts. Like it's not in the player's favor. But as we've seen from people like Blum, esports video game attorney guy on Twitter, like there's a couple of them that I'll kind of follow, and they chime in on this stuff. Like, look, it's not also that uncommon for somebody who's not big to have these kinds of terms. You've seen Summit and people like Ninja come out and comment on this stuff. Like, it's not egregious, like, what they were doing here, but obviously it's in the organization's
Mm-hmm.
favor. Um, a lot of it comes down to the fact that they have the FaZe, as in FaZe has the ability to take a large portion of Tfue's earnings really at any point during this contract, in the sense that that's the numbers that they agreed upon. I don't know what the exact percentage is. It's like but they have an ability to take a lot from him. What they have done, however, is they've taken really nothing. The only thing that they've taken is $60,000 on two particular deals that they brought in, and that was 20% of the value, or I'm sorry, 80% of the value in those two deals. The player got 20%. So that's where like the 80/20 is in. I don't think that's the raw numbers for every other aspect of the contract, but they haven't taken anything. He's just worried that, bro, in 3 years, like think about how much money I will
Right.
have made. And if you
Right.
can come in and just scoop a huge portion of it, like that's the
And
issue.
that's my issue. I don't think either one is innocent. Like I don't think FaZe is innocent. I don't think Tfue's innocent in all this, but I don't think either one is also guilty, right? Like I could totally see why Tfue wants out, and for FaZe to keep saying, because that's the funny thing, right? Is throughout all the phases, because after Tfue, FaZe, the organization came out and made a statement, and it was pretty generic. It wasn't even worth pulling audio from. It's exactly what you would think a team would say, including phase the F up at the end. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, of course. Uh, they've always said, look, we haven't taken a dime from Tfue, but they always also fail to mention is that, but we could, right? And like
But
to me, you don't really deserve a pat on the back to be like, what a great guy. Like you, look, man, uh, I have a gun in my hand and I could shoot you, but I haven't.
I
So
haven't
why
done
don't
it
you
yet.
appreciate me, okay? Like that's the part that bothers me about it is like I don't
But does
know.
it bother you that they've made different iterations that they've sent to him of this contract to fix these issues that he's addressing? So, like,
Yes.
they've sent him numerous contracts and they blacked out a lot of these emails and stuff that they've sent, but they've put it out there that they've offered him contracts that pay him seven figures, that take zero money from them. All they want him for is branding purposes.
Mhm.
That's it. Like, hey, if we have deals for you now, the conflicts there could come in, like if Tfue wants to sign with Monster, but FaZe is signed with Red Bull. Obviously, you can't do things like that
And that's
when you're
just
tied to
part
an
of
org.
it,
But
dude.
that's normal.
That's
That's the
part
life.
of it.
That's like very common sense, right? But they've offered him revisions of his contract that say, hey, we're not going to take a dime from you. In fact, we're going to give you $1 million a year. Stay on the FaZe branding. And so what that tells me is Tfue has no intention of trying to renegotiate this bad contract that
Right.
he signed, right? He
Yeah.
just wants out. That's the
And that's my
only
problem with
answer he
Tfue.
wants.
And that's my
It's a
problem with
very,
Tfue's response is
yeah,
he only brings up the fact release the contract, release the contract. You would it's unbelievable how bad this contract is, and then also fails to mention but don't release the other two or three revisioned ones that say I get all my
yeah.
money. Don't release those though, because then people are going to realize like I just want out. Like, dude, just
Yeah,
come
that's
out
all
and
he
say
wants.
it. Like, you want out. And that's also part of the lawsuit. I guess in California, I'm going to butcher this, but there's like a law that you can't prevent contract work from working with others or something of another. You get what I'm saying? Like that
No.
look it up. It's part of the original dispute that he was saying. Right to work law. Thank you, Zen in chat. It's basically saying like your employer or whoever you signed contracts with can't block you off from taking other work,
Okay, so
right?
it's like Texas. Texas is a right to work state. So even though like I'm in the consulting business, right? So with the right to work state, the employer or the employee can quit or leave at any point, really, without having to bind to some of the contracts. But that's also not 100% right either. Like if there was money exchange of money involved, like
Mm-hmm.
you could have to pay some back and so forth. So there are other things to that. It's not just as
Right.
simple as it's being a right to work state there.
Well, and then also too, you're like, okay, well, that's very loose because like, what are they preventing Tfue to do and everything? And then it comes out that Tfue's brother messaged and released it saying that, well, Tfue wants to start his own org. Hold up.
Messed up that whole little thing they had
Well,
going there,
first
like
off,
that.
if I was Tfue, I'd be like, dude, really? Like, did you really just message someone this? But
Yeah,
second off,
Banks.
in
He
what
messaged Banks, didn't he?
in what was it, Banks or Keemstar or somebody? It
Somebody
doesn't
that if you're
matter.
gonna
It was
release
out
it to,
there.
it's coming out. Yeah.
My point here though is like, in what crazy delusional world do they live in where they think putting that out there will help Tfue's case? Like, oh, what a bunch of jerks FaZe are that they don't want their number one guy leaving to make another competing org against them. What a bunch of jerks. Just let him do it. He's earned it. Like, dude, are you joking? Like, just wait out your 3-year contract then. Rewrite the contract to where you can protect your money, which, hey, I'm 100% okay with. Get your bread. And then peace out after 3 years, like everybody else does, right? Like, look at Shroud and Cloud9. I brought that up last week. The dude retired, was still on the Cloud9 brand, let the contract lapse and didn't re sign with them, and immediately put out all of his Shroud branding. And then, boom, the dude's
Ninja did the
scot
same
clean.
thing. Ninja blew up as under the Luminosity banner. Like when the whole Fortnite, everything skyrocketed for that game, he was still under Luminosity's banner at that
Yeah.
point. Contract ran out, didn't re-sign, did what he wanted to do. Um, Again, I'm not saying that Tfue doesn't have the right to go do what he wants to do, right? Like he does. Now, what he should have done, in my opinion, is renegotiated the contract not only with the way he wanted it financially, but then also asked for a change in the duration of the contract. Like, hey guys, 3 years, that's a long time. Like, I'll give you another 6 months to a year type thing. Like,
Yeah,
let's
get your
kind of,
work in order, but I just want to let you know I love you, but I've outgrown this. Like, I want to spread my wings now. I don't want
yeah.
to live, because that's the other thing is Banks was like, man, I knew it changed when you left the house. Look, dude, if I was making millions of dollars, I wouldn't want to live with a bunch of people either. Like, the dude wants to get his own, freak on in his own
Tifu's
house.
side to me seems super unprofessional. The way that his company or brand is being run by his dad being his manager, I
Yeah.
just that usually does not work for most. I mean, not saying it doesn't work for everyone, but unless your
Look at
dad is in,
Hollywood kid stars, right? Ask him how that's worked out.
yeah, I
Majority of
mean,
them not
Macaulay
so
Culkin
well.
is doing great. Like, guy looks like he's still on crack, and like, I mean, there's just so many examples where that usually doesn't work out. Then his brother is also like his voice right now for him, and his brother is out there as well. So I think this is like, to me, I'm on Team FaZe. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that out there before we wrap this segment up. Like, I am on Team FaZe in this situation. I don't say that often. I'm not like a huge FaZe fan. I'm just from an esports side, right? I don't have anything personal against these guys, never done anything to slight me, but like the teams I root for, usually not them. And so in this situation though, I do believe this is a Tfue issue. I believe he is being incredibly um I, what's the word I'm looking for here? I just think he's being incredibly greedy in this situation, and he doesn't understand the business side of what he's asking to be done here. It looks like, in my mind, FaZe has offered the right terms of like
Mm-hmm.
of terms and conditions for him. Um, I don't know about duration. I understand that still being a big issue. 3 years is again really long, but he signed it. Um, but again, I think, to me, FaZe is gonna look like the good guys here at the end of the day. Like I really
Yeah,
truly believe that.
because of the revisions. That's really what it is.
Yeah,
Because
that's a
of the
big
revisions.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the original contract sucked and it was super greedy on the org's part and kind of shady that you could just take their money. But
they haven't. They haven't taken a dime from him either.
Exactly.
That's the crazy part, right? So not only the revisions, but they haven't held any of the clauses in the contract to be true, and they're willing to renegotiate the contract with you, which means all the money they haven't taken, they won't be taking from you. So again, to me, this is like a bad look for Tfue. I get it. He wants to go out. Starting your own org, great. Let's see how that works out. Anyway, it's not as easy as um, I mean, maybe they're making it seem to be, but yeah, I'm gonna have to side with Banks, and I get where the emotion is coming from on his end, like I do. So
And I'll say my piece too, because this is probably the last time we'll bring it up on the show. Is I'm leaning towards FaZe as well, mainly just because as an adult I
wait,
kind of
what
get
you
the.
say? It cut out. You're what?
I said I am. Teaming with FaZe on this one.
Oh, nice, nice.
Unless Tfue's listening, then bro, 100% on your side, man.
Yeah, if either side's listening, we're on your side.
Right. Whichever side wants to contact us first. And I won't even read a contract. So you send that my way, I'm signing that.
95.5? Sure, let's do it.
Right, yeah. You want 95% of profit? Go for it, man. And look, I don't watch Tfue, right? I don't really care for him at all in the sense of I have no dogs in the hunt. But just as an adult, I kind of understand how business and contracts work, and sometimes you just got to grin and bear it. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake. I do think that Banks and FaZe kind of thought this was like a Fast and the Furious situation where, family is forever and, once you're in, you're in. I do think hopefully they learn from this as well that, oh, maybe we are running a business, like, look, dude, like this isn't just friends chilling in a house. Like for some of these guys, it's business. And for Tfue, maybe his dad talked to him and said, like, look, son, you gotta watch, like, look out for number one, and number one is you. So find a way to get out of this. Now,
And
just
sue your company.
sue your company.
Sue your employer. That's
So
the
I would
way
love
out.
to be a fly on the wall for both sides' attorneys because I bet you all of them are just like, shut up, like stop posting videos.
FaZe's response, a proper response. So take out Banks's response, right? That's a Banks response, not a FaZe response. FaZe's response was actually, was pretty good. Like it was pretty to the point.
You could tell they read it.
The ending was the only, like FaZe. That was the only part that was like a little off color. I thought, like I didn't
You
think it was
couldn't
necessary.
imagine Microfail, owner of Envy, doing something like that.
Can you imagine, dude?
Like I said, I mean, we've talked to team owners and everything, and it's just like you could clearly see how some of them conduct themselves on the business side and some don't. And I'll say it again, like FaZe is the party boy of esports. They definitely are Jake Paul, of esports. So
most of the owners we've met though are also like very heavily invested in the business side.
Yeah.
Where that's not really the case with FaZe. Like a lot of the owners are the clout guys, right? Like they're the ones that are in the public eye and stay with the drama and do all that. So
I don't know. Craziest thing out of all this is that Le'Veon Bell tweeted a Tfue with support. So that honestly blew my mind.
He uses hashtag in everything. And you know what, Tfue, if you're listening, it didn't work out for Le'Veon, so don't take his advice.
That was my favorite
about $20 million, and he's on the Jets now.
That was
your organization could be
it's
the
like,
Jets.
He's like, dude, hold out for you, man. Look out for you. And then all the comments were like, Mr. Bell, you lost like $18 million.
18 million guaranteed, and took less money.
Are no longer on a Super Bowl contender and now playing for the Jets.
Oh Lord!
So what's up?
But hey, still cool. So, he tweeted him out.
Shout out
That's
from
awesome.
Le'Veon Bell, man. I'll take it. I will take it.
That's too easy though. Yeah.
Either way, it will be interesting to see because I think, again, I don't think between FaZe and Tfue in the long run, I don't think it's going to really affect any of them other than Tfue no longer being with FaZe, and Tfue might create his own content creating org. Other than that, or brand, we'll say.
Yeah.
But other than that, this might just shed a light for future players signing contracts. But probably not because, when you're 18 signing contracts and someone's saying, dude, be a professional gamer, I'm signing it. I'm not reading anything. So that's probably the problem. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there, though. But let's move on. Because this weekend we have DreamHack Dallas here in our hometown. We do live in DFW, for those who don't know. So Brett, formerly of TCR, and myself will be there. Every year we go to DreamHack Austin since the first year they moved it here. DreamHack Austin was the first DreamHack event in North America. We made a point to go there. It was kind of my pseudo bachelor party, if you will. And then we were like, dude, let's come back. Let's do BYOC every year. And we were. So we always do like a kind of a survival guide for those who might be going. So I'm going. Brett will be there. Anuj will not. He has to fly out to a family wedding. But that's not all bad, though, because if it's like a destination wedding, you got to be going to like what? Cabo, Hawaii?
It's actually really, I say close to Hawaii. Little east, but it's going to be in Indianapolis. So,
What island is that on? Is that.
oh, can I tell you a quick story? So,
Sure.
I got to do this right now. So, my first time in Indianapolis was, oh man, 25. No, I was 4 years old. Okay, so I was 4 and I'm what, 23 now. So do the math. And so,
Sure.
anyways, I was 4 years old. My mom was pregnant with my sister at the time. We're traveling out to go see these same cousins who are getting married, not to each other. Same cousin who was
That was
getting
a
married.
weird
I should
segue.
clarify.
That was
Yeah. So we go out there where we just flew in. It's a little late at night. We needed some food on our way home. Well, back in the day, Pizza Hut used to have dine-ins. You could like go dine in at a Pizza Hut. It wasn't just like delivery.
They're
I don't know.
still
Maybe
around.
are they still around? Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
buffets and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You can go sit at the buffet. Okay, so anyways, it was one of those. We go in there probably 10, the 9, 10 o'clock right before they're closing. It's pretty late. We sit down. Within 15 minutes of being there, 4 dudes come running in, shotguns, fully loaded, ski mask on, come running into this place, hold everybody up. They ask everyone to get under the table. So my dad and my mom are like holding me under the table. They start taking off their jewelry and putting this in their pockets and everything like that. They mace all the people at the front counter. My mom vividly remembers this. Obviously, I don't remember it I remember it, but not like that vivid. My mom said the guy was standing over us. There's only 3 couples in there at that time. Dude is standing over us, holding a shotgun at us, saying, "Give me all your money and your jewelry." So my dad's like taking his wallet out and his watch off and all that. They mace everyone at the front counter, take the $50 or whatever the hell would be in a Pizza Hut
Yeah, like
cashier
how much can
machine
be
at
there?
that point, like how much was in there at that time, um, and left. And that was it. That was my first experience in Indianapolis. This will be number 2. There will be no stops on the way to this wedding. We will go straight there from the airport, and
Mm.
hopefully back here next week for a show.
And now your second visit is forcing you to miss DreamHack. So what you're saying is,
Two,
would you rather take a
bro.
gun to the head or miss DreamHack? Like,
It feels like the same right now, Tim. I can't tell the difference at the moment. I do have a gun
it's
to my
really the
head.
same story. It's
Yeah,
really the
yeah.
same
I
story.
am sad to be missing out, though. In all honesty, super sad to be missing out on DreamHack. It's been 3 years in a row that we've gone. Absolutely loved it. I hope you guys have an amazing time, and I'm still excited to talk about it, man. Like I'm still
Yeah.
excited as if I were
Always good
going. I wish
stories.
I was. Yeah,
Always good
for
stories that
sure.
come out of it. And you'll be back next year.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
So this weekend, DreamHack Dallas. It's at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Center, which is just the Dallas Convention Center. I know some people might be wondering why is it in Dallas and not Austin this year. We actually talked to a few people from DreamHack. Simply, they just needed a bigger venue. The K. Bailey Center, Hutchinson Center, is enormous. It is huge.
You can't even picture how big this place is. We can't even tell you. It covers almost 3 city blocks, it feels like, in
Yeah,
terms of how long this damn thing is. It is
it's big.
they're not using the whole event center obviously for this, but what we're saying is it gives them a lot more space, a lot more room.
Right. Well, it's also this year you're having a CS:GO Master event, so that
Yep.
is like a premier event. Like means something. Um, I don't know how you want to start. Do you want to start with the esports side of it, and then we can go more towards the survival guide aspect?
I want to flip it on us. Let's go survival guide, and then we can just kind of wrap it up with that part with
All right.
the events to kind of keep an eye on.
Easy enough. Real quick tip here, what I would always suggest to people, and they just started doing this last year. Download the DreamHack app on your phone,
Yep.
because when you get to DreamHack, you will realize there are a lot of things to do and a lot of things you want to do and don't want to miss. DreamHack is amazing. One thing though that they have not discovered is a schedule posted anywhere in the venue.
No, there's none of that. You are figuring everything out on your own. Our first couple years, it was like, wait, when are the games starting?
Because they
Who's
didn't have an
playing
app
next?
at then.
I was literally going to like HLTV to look at what Counter Strike matches were coming up. Like that's how I was
Mm-hmm.
doing it. So yeah, 100%. Just for that, it also shows you like the vendors, and there's more in that app than obviously just the game schedule.
Right.
But that app will be a lifeline for you at these types of events.
And to Anuja's point, like it's not just games at these things. And that's one important thing. Like, yeah, for sure, go check out the esports. You know, if you have tickets to the expo and DreamHack Masters for the CS:GO side of it, for sure, go check out the esports. Right, fighting games will have a big presence there as they always do. Go check it out. It's really fun. But there's a lot more to do than just that. You have artists, local artists in the area. They will bring their art to buy. You can normally find some pretty cool stuff. They have a speedrunners area where some popular speedrunners will speed run their best games. Tabletop
Vendor like
area.
big vendors out there as well,
You have
right?
HyperX will be out there. Dallas Fuel and Envy will be out there. Looking at the expo map, in the top left corner, a very big square for Microsoft. And you might be
Hmm.
thinking, what does Microsoft have? And I'm
Haven't seen them in
thinking,
3 years at DreamHack.
no,
In all 3
no,
years, have
we've
we seen a
never seen
Microsoft booth?
Microsoft at DreamHack. This
Yeah.
is not a normal thing. Maybe Halo PC? Maybe. I know Halo 3 will be at, they're doing Halo 3 tournaments and event competition there. So maybe they're going to be having a little bit more for Halo PC. I don't know.
Even if it's just showing it off or just showing things about it, that would be really cool. I don't think this is going to be like a play test area or anything like
Right.
that, you know. But
But just
I think this
acknowledge
is a
that it
way that,
still exists.
dude, Halo is so recognizable. They could really make that area pretty cool, have a lot to show off. People will naturally just walk by. They'll obviously have their consoles and things like that, you know, to show off as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, like that would be super exciting for you guys if they did anything Halo related. But that's the assumption. I think that's probably spot on. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's going to be pretty truly dedicated to some sort of Halo setup.
If you're doing BYOC, I will say this too, or even if you're not, right? Hold off on buying things if you're like, man, I want to get a new headset before the event. Hold off, because normally at these booths like the HyperX normally have cheaper pricing than like their normal stuff. Um, so that's one tip
Yeah,
there.
not paying for shipping either, and they'll do like 10 to 20% off at these events. Plus, they always have something that's a little unique that you maybe don't see, or that's like customized, you know, for these types of events, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
Um,
The
so
indie
yeah,
area will
definitely worth
typically get
it.
free stuff. I mean, that's how I got into the Splitgate Alpha a year back. Was Splitgate was at Austin, met the
Yeah.
devs, talked to them, got into the alpha. Um, so
You
you will
mentioned that, it's
see.
kinda cool. So they have the indie gaming area as well at these events where you can see, student developers as well as, like, true indie game developers out there,
Hmm.
and those, a lot of times, you do get to test or play, like, you know, and interact with some of the dev members that are there. So if you enjoy that scene, really is a lot of fun. Like, it's much more than just an esports event. That's generally how we talk about things, but this is
Yeah.
like truly a gaming
And,
experience.
you know, and take your time to sit down and play some of these games. Like seriously, because
Yeah.
if all you're doing, because there's really two sides to it, is BYOC, bring your own computer, and then obviously you're gaming, right? But if you're just attending the expo, if you're just saying I want to check it out, and you're not doing BYOC, which is what we did the first year we went to DreamHack Austin, and I'm glad we did. I know we talked about doing BYOC, but we were like, dude, we've never been to a DreamHack before, so I didn't want
Yeah.
to, you know, take on that BYOC first time experience and never being to DreamHack, you know, and plus it was our bachelor party, so the boys had to hit the street. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I would seriously, because the esports can kind of get lame, especially like early on, like on a Friday when it's just like group stages and stuff. Drama's not really high. That's when you want to go check out all the little vendors here and there, pick up the swag, get the free stuff. That's when you really want to do it. As far as BYOC, if you are doing BYOC, some tips. Security. DreamHack will tell you it's going to be the best security they ever have. It's a lie. Stuff will get stolen. Your stuff might get stolen. Don't believe them. Buy a what's it called? A K lock,
Monitor lock.
a
Yeah.
monitor
Like
lock, and you
yeah.
loop that stuff through anything you can loop it through so they don't steal it, right? Like I have a mouse bungee that has like a hole through it. Loop it through the mouse bungee so that's not going anywhere. I would take your
I
keyboard.
take all my peripherals home every night.
Yep.
I took it with me wherever I was going. I never left my keyboard, mouse pad, like things that were easy to pick up. They're probably not going to walk out with like a tower, but we did see a laptop get stolen
Yeah.
last year. So, you know, you want to talk about I mean, that's losing everything for that person, right?
And
Like
it
I
was a
mean,
dude
lose
we
your
played
laptop.
earlier in the Counter-Strike tournament, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that
So,
sucks."
I mean, again, they said security will be better. Be smart, you know, protect your own stuff, take your stuff with you. Um,
At the end of the
oh,
day, the people watching the BYOC area and most of the people working here are volunteers.
yeah,
So keep in mind, you're not having like FBI level CIA agents protecting your stuff. It's just volunteers. They don't know if the
yeah.
guy walking out with a backpack, it's his backpack or not. You know, it's just like Anuj said, just be smart about it. This year they said they're doing wristbands instead of like this typical lanyard, and the wristband is going to be able to beep in and out. So like they will check it in and out and of everything there. Um, but you know, you don't know the guy next to you, so you know you could be like, hey, we're all here chilling playing games, but he could also be a sleaze bag and steal your stuff. So
Don't bring an ultra wide. Don't be that guy.
though
Also,
you
don't
do have
bring
36 inches this year. They
you
did send out
do,
the email. We got
but
6 more inches.
still, there's like
Don't be that guy.
still limited space. Okay, we've
Don't be
seen
that
people
guy.
bring 32-inch TVs. Remember that dude? Like
Yep.
got the massive
Respect
TV
the
out there.
space because
Yeah,
the tables, yeah, you're elbow to elbow sometimes with people, and it's like last year we get there, and first off, my tip is be chill, take deep breaths, because if not, then you'll end up like me and almost get in a fight with 2 people before you even set your PC up. But last year we got in there and it was like this dude was setting up where we were supposed to set up, and my PC was originally there. I walked away to check with something. I think it was to let you guys in because I had your
yeah.
passes. And I get back and this dude moved my PC. That's also a no-no. Don't touch other people's stuff. Like that's how you get that's how punches start to get thrown. Is
Hey, the
like,
BYOC, that's a call for murder right there.
yeah, like
Like,
do not touch my stuff. And I
the,
almost
yeah.
murdered the guy. Almost murdered him.
Instead, Tim pushed his computer over and walked away.
Just smashed it. No, no, no. Cooler heads prevailed and he said, "Oh, my bad. Wrong spot." I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like, why do you think my stuff was here to begin with? Why'd you move my stuff? Just assuming I was wrong." Um, BYOC has a lot of tournaments within it. If it's your thing, they're fun.
They
I'm
don't
not.
know how to run a tournament properly. So
No,
we'll
I.
let that be said. We've done it 3 years. We're done with that. Like even if I was going this year, there would be zero interest in
Yeah.
joining any of the tournaments. They don't know how to run them. They're never on time. There's always a delay or a
If there's
complaint of
tech
some sort of
issues
issue
or
or tech issues or it's just all it's been something every single year. and it's never been a fun or pleasurable experience. It's
No.
always been like regret by the end of that day of why did we just do
We
this
just
again? So
wasted very high quality gaming time to wait in servers until the other team arrived. Or last year, the venue had an issue with internet problems and power outages, and we were in the Counter-Strike tournament. We've told the story before, but for those who don't know, on Friday, we made it to the final four of this tournament, only then to be having a DreamHack guy sprint over to us because we had our TCR banner, so he knew where we were sitting, saying, "Are you guys TCR?" And we were like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, did you guys know the tournament you're playing in isn't real?" And we were like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, they're restarting the tournament because the power outages screwed everything up." And he's like, "You guys gotta keep an eye on Discord." We're like, "Dude, this has been like 6 hours. Like, it is
so
like
long.
12:30 in the morning. What is going on?" He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep doing it tomorrow. Though we're gonna restart tomorrow."
And when they said it wasn't real, it was the DreamHack official servers.
Yeah,
It's just they had canceled it when some of the power went out in different areas and didn't count any of the
and we made
games.
it.
So
I mean, we were smoking kids too. We made it to the final four. Just everyone
for
was
me,
feeling
that
it.
was the tournament, though. Okay, so
Oh,
the tournament for me was that moment,
we were
not
feeling it.
the next day when we got eliminated, unfortunately. So,
Yeah,
um,
the next day we played 2 matches, and it took us 14 hours to do it because they were like, "Oh yeah, be here by like 9 o'clock." So we woke up it,
after being up all night,
all night for a 9 o'clock match that was delayed to like 1, which was again delayed. Long story short, this is the first year in Dallas, so you don't know what to expect, right? They spent 3 years in Austin and still had power issues. Uh, Later found out maybe a bit of DreamHack's fault as well. So even when they are familiar with a venue, things can happen. Power outages will happen. Internet outages will happen. You got to be patient, right? Some things are out of their control. You just got to roll with it. Roll with the punches. Um, Again, if tournaments are your thing, do it, but do it at your own risk and realize that, hey, what are the odds that we're going to win this? If you don't really think you're going to
don't
win it, bail out. That was our problem. We should have bailed. Like, but we made it to the
don't
top four the night before.
focus your weekend around the tournament. Like let that just be part of it. But don't make that like the focus for it. Like just really enjoy your experience there. And if something goes wrong, you got plenty of other things to do. So
Yeah,
really, I think everyone's going to have an amazing time, not only at the event. I think Dallas itself is a great town for it. I know it's not Austin in the sense you don't have Sixth
Sixth
Street,
Street.
the iconic Sixth Street right next door. But you'll have hundreds of restaurants at your disposal. You'll have a ton of nightlife within a 3 to 5 minute Uber drive away. Kay Bailey is
Uber.
kind of off. Yeah,
It's a
Uber.
little bit more
Um,
difficult to walk back to the hotel drunk on this one.
yeah, you're not walking back and forth, and there's not
I'm
going
gonna
to
have
be
to be a little
bikes
bit more
taking you around.
responsible.
Kay Bailey's kind of in the corner of downtown because it is so big. So, for those of you that are not from the area that are going, make sure to kind of Google areas like Deep Ellum or Uptown. A lot of nightlife and food and restaurants in those areas. So, Dallas is a great city for it. It's going to be more open feel. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think they have an opportunity to really do this right and make it even bigger here at Dallas.
Mm-hmm. If we do have any listeners headed out, let us know at the Center Ring on Twitter. Again, I'll be there, so at Pirate Mushroom. If you want to message me directly, we could definitely meet up. Zen, I would love for you to show up. That would be great. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. If it's, I think it will be Dallas again. Um, so every year they do music. They have some music act. Last year wasn't bad. It was Cruella, and it was off to the corner away from BYOC. The year before that was the most horrendous setup for music I've ever seen. This year, I have to assume it's going to be very far away from BYOC. Again, given how big this convention center is, there's no excuse that BYOC should even hear the music.
Can you imagine if it's
Uh,
right on top of y'all in the Kay Bailey Kitchen
uh,
Center?
so there's 2 nights though. So one night, I don't know
Yeah.
which one's which, but one night, I think it's Saturday, is metal night. and Trivium will be there. So me, I like Trivium. I love him. I'm a big metal guy. So that's gonna be awesome. And the night before is like EDM night, so you'll have 7 Lions there, which okay, they're not bad. He's not bad. Is it one dude? I don't even know. Um, not
No,
bad
there's 7 of
still.
them.
And they're Lions too. Go figure. Again, like the tournaments though, you're there to game. I'm a big Trivium guy. I've seen him in concert before, so maybe this sways my decision. I'll probably go for a couple songs and then I'll roll back to my PC to game. I don't want to go
Yeah.
to a concert and wear myself out and then be like, "Whew, it's 11:30, boys. We just rocked out in the pit. I got to go to bed." Right? Like, no, dude, I want to go game. I want to be up till
Yeah.
3 or 4 gaming. So, you know, if it's your thing, if that's your thing, if you want to go to the show, go. For me personally, it's never been I've never gone to DreamHack for the music. I've gone to game. So
Can people from the outside come into these concert
I
events
don't
for
know.
this?
I don't know. I know because we have BYOC, so we instantly have uh
Clout.
yeah. So
I'm
we
gonna
have
start using
clout.
that word for us, by the way.
We got the clout house.
You got like internet clout.
We got clout. So music, take it or leave it. If that's your thing, go for it. But again, uh, me personally, I would not let it take up your whole night because again, then you're gonna leave the weekend thinking, well, I just went to a 2-night concert series and gamed in between. Like, nah, dude. Let the gaming be your focus. As far as esports go, though, they do have a pretty sweet lineup this year. Not as much though as before. You have the fighting game community. You'll have both Smashes there, MK11, Tekken 7, Street Fighter 5, Soul Calibur, some big ones there. Rocket League, the pro circuit will be there. So you're going to have big teams, G2, C9, NRG, PSG Esports. You're going to have big teams there. And Halo will be there. Madden will be there. Again, all this is, if you're into it, go check it out. We've mentioned CSGO. The Masters will be there. That's a big tournament. Astralis won't be there. This is one of the ones that they said, no, thank you. But that's going to be a big one. I think you actually had to buy separate tickets. If you have BYOC, you can make it. You can go watch Counter-Strike, but I think after that, you have to.
That'll be packed. That'll be that was a good idea for them to sell that separately because that really will be um a there's just so many big name teams coming to this event with huge following. So the DreamHack Master should be fun with or without Astralis.
Yeah. So that will be a good one there. A notable absence from all this is Blizzard. Every year it seemed like it was part of the main stop for the StarCraft circuit and the main stop for Hearthstone. Heroes of the Storm was always there. I think maybe at least for the first 2 years.
It was at least 2 years, at least 2 out of the 3.
And nothing. Last year you had Rainbow Six. They're not back. I'm sure that's a big effort because of CS:GO, right? It's a Masters. They don't want to pull people away. The fighting game community is way different, and Rocket League is way different. They probably aren't threatened that they're going to pull people away from Counter-Strike, but they probably really wanted to minimize the other games. But for no Blizzard is kind of weird to me.
Honestly, outside of Overwatch League, Blizzard really doesn't have a ton of esports right now. I know StarCraft is a thing, but like it's dated in the sense of what
Yeah.
it brings to esports. I know they've had StarCraft there the past 2 years at least,
Right.
and it never seemed to really.
The finals always
gain.
had a crowd, but the whole other weekend, man.
You didn't even know it was happening. I
It was
sat next to
pretty
one of the
bare.
players in the events and had no idea the whole time. And so, I mean, it's a notable absence for them, but all they want to promote is Overwatch League, and they
Yeah.
have other avenues of doing
Well,
that. So
They haven't really been playing nice with others as of late. And yeah, they did kill off Heroes, but Heroes still has a scene. It's just not officially Blizzard sanctioned, but nonetheless, it's still going to be an amazing event. And again, if you're going, hit us up at the Center Ring. We will be there, or at least Brett and I. Brett, you guys remember him? He was the dad of the group. But let's get
any
to
other notable absences for Blizzard recently? Any other?
I do think I do think something with Blizzard and the Overwatch League, I was really worried because it's like 2-month break with Overwatch. I was like, dang, there's not going to be anything to talk about. And then Nate Nanzer was like, hold my beer. So if you haven't heard, Nate Nanzer was the commissioner for the Overwatch League. That is no longer the case as he decides to step down as commish and move over to Epic to work with them on their esports side, helping out what I can only assume will be Fortnite and Rocket League. I mean, that's the only thing they got. Maybe they bring back Unreal Tournament. Oh, please do. But that's not the case considering Fortnite kind of killed that off. But no, so he recently tweeted out, it's been rumored, but it was made official over the weekend that Nate Nanzer is stepping down as commissioner for Overwatch League. Now, this has gone a lot of different directions as far as the community is concerned. To my surprise, I'll kind of make it quick because I know we're already running long on time, but it seems to be divided up. Now, the players and coaches and orgs involved with, like, people directly involved with the Overwatch League are very, hey man, good luck, wish you luck, thanks for everything, you're the best, we'll see you around. That's partly expected. Like, I don't think an org is going to be like, F you, bro. Like, I hope you fail. Clearly they have to save face.
It's a bigger deal than what everyone's making it out to be, though.
I
Like, at the
think
end of the
so.
day, like, this is a Roger Goodell stepping down and Adam Silver stepping down. Like, we talked about this off air, and you made a really good point. Like, commissioners of pro leagues don't really leave,
They
like, unless
retire.
they're retire or they're forced out, right? Like, they're the ones pushed out of the way. It's never like on their own decision. And so for this to be happening, I know we're like, oh well, it's esports, it's different. Well, hey, like, they were trying to make it like traditional sports by the franchising
Mhm.
model, by the way they were running it, by the rules that are set in place, and the way contracts are done. Like, there was a lot about this that's supposed to be traditional sports written all over it. So for him to be stepping down mid-season, okay, mid-stage, like, I mean, we're not even like really halfway through. I mean, I guess we're at the halfway mark, but like, it's such an odd time. Like, it's just such odd timing to be walking away.
And like to tweet it all out at like Friday at like 8:30 at night too. It's like you borderline Baltimore Colt them. Like
Pretty
you
much, right? I
almost
mean,
moved out in the middle of the night.
it's
It's
late
just
enough in the day to where it doesn't drive Friday news traffic, and you
Friday
hope
on
by
a
the
3-day
weekend.
weekend. No one's thinking about esports on Memorial Day weekend. I'm
Well,
out, guys.
TCR is here to deliver.
Can't get
No, I
past
mean,
TCR.
seriously though, I'm surprised. Like, I just don't think it's a good look at all. I think there's more to it.
Yeah,
It's
I do too.
it's
I'm
shocking.
with you. And I mean, people know me, man. I love Overwatch. I love the Overwatch League. I'm a believer in it. I still think it will be a success. And I argue points back and forth where people are like, well, the owners still haven't seen their money. Well, I don't think they were expecting to get their money back within a year and a half of it. It's season and a half. But that being said, your commissioner, the face of your league, pieces out midway through his second season because he got money whipped by Epic. Now, I don't blame him, right? Like, you got Epic money, take that. Take that and run because you're not going to get that offer probably ever again in your life. Like, who knows what he was offered by Epic because they got Fortnite money. But for like to me, I think this is where it's a concerning factor. And I understand. I've read articles and I've heard people say and tell me to confirm it that Nate Nanzer was never really the day by day business guy for the Overwatch League. Like, other people handled that mess. Nate Nanzer was supposed to be the public face. He was the guy who would sell sponsorships, and because that's what he does, right? He's a demographic kind of guy. He's the one who sells you on the league, right? He's a big pitch guy. Well, I don't see how that changes the fact of his importance of leaving. Like, so, okay, he is your pitch guy. He was the guy telling me, dude, let's ride this ship, believe in it, come with me. And now he's peacing out. He abandoned ship. Like, that's terrible for the Overwatch League. It's an awful look.
It's the two sides, like you said, are just it's just so funny on how they differ, right? Like you mentioned, the fans, the big fans and supporters of Overwatch League are like, no big deal. Like we'll be able to move on. It's not going to affect the business operations, and I believe that. I don't think it. I don't think it will. I think they'll be able to have somebody come in there and probably do just as good of a job. I don't doubt them on that. What this does is feed the skeptics, though, right?
Oh, of
If
course.
the skeptics are going to sit there and be like, well, man, if this is going so great and everything is so dandy and so perfect and working and moving like a well-oiled machine, why would he leave? Why didn't he see the opportunity in the bigger picture where maybe he would make the money up on the back end if Overwatch League is a 10-year project that's going to change the way esports is done,
Or even
and you're
from the
part of a
emotional
way it's
standpoint,
like
right?
revolutionizing the game or the industry, and then he like deuces out on that a year and a half in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really going to feed the skeptics more so than help the supporters, I guess you could say.
Yeah, because even from like an emotional standpoint, right? Like he was the first commissioner. He was the guy who Blizzard entrusted in like pumping the tires for this league, and
They
now
put an
he's out.
asterisk by his name, when they like put him in the record books as like first commissioner, but stepped down a year and a half
Stepped
in.
down and moved on. So I don't know. Maybe the commissioner's a bogus title in esports, right? Even in a franchise league, maybe it is bogus
But
and
it
not
can't
a
be like
thing
it shouldn't be. I don't think that was their intention. Like I think they wanted that. They want that to be
to
like
be an
a
important role.
yeah, like as it
This is
should
not part of
be.
Blizzard's plan. I would have loved to see what Blizzard's reaction when he walked up to them and said, "Guys, uh, here's my 2 weeks. I'm out." Like, how long
In
have
my
they
two
known,
weeks.
like ahead of time, to be like, "All right, so this dude's leaving midway through the season. He didn't even
I,
wait."
I
Like,
I bet it was going on for a bit because there had to be some back and forth negotiation between Blizzard and him, right? For them
yeah,
to
there had
like
to have been counter
want to
offers
like
and
keep him and
and
like because they also know it's not the best look for this to be happening. So I'm
no.
sure this is something that has at least been discussed for a little bit. It's not an overnight decision.
Is it a killer of the league? No. Is it a good look? Definitely not.
No,
I
no.
you know I I'm a supporter of the league, but this definitely does kind of make me wonder what's going on behind the scenes. Was it a true money whip, or was this guy kind of like, look, guys, I'm looking out for future too, and I don't see this going on for another 20 years or whatever they're trying to bill it as. So I don't know. It's just not a good look. It's just simply not a good look for the league.
And for him, even though yes, money was probably a big factor in it, if Fortnite now becomes a true esport and he gets some big bulk of the credit of that, that would also be a fantastic notch on his resume, right? Like
Of
being
course.
able to take the game where it's at, an already established big game, and turn it into a true esport. Like that would also be exciting for us as people that do an esport show to see Fortnite kind of truly enter the realm because it's never really
Eh,
done
would it
that.
would it be exciting?
You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
I would love to be
I
able to
agree.
put Fortnite in a title of one of our videos.
Oh,
Just to get the clicks.
we
Just
would
to get the clicks,
just
bro.
I
That's
might
it.
throw Fortnite in this title.
Good. Let's call this the Nate
Tfue
Nanzer.
Tfue versus FaZe Fortnite. Boom. It's the most
Done.
listened to episode, just like that. That's how you work it. That's how you work those clicks.
Bro, I taught you everything you know on those thumbnails, those YouTube posts, everything. Invested.
Yeah, because Banks invented clickbait titles. Let me tell you, homie. All right, let's get into some e-news, shall we?
We shall.
CSGO, you had the CS Summit 4 wrap up over the weekend. As we mentioned, it's always a fun event. I kind of miss the old house.
Yeah.
They moved, I think the first one was the Smash Ultimate Summit was the first one at their new house, quote unquote. I think it's a warehouse, though. I think it's an office building that they've just designed to make it look like a house. Their last one was legit a house. Like, the dudes were playing in bedrooms. And, like, you saw the kitchen. This one, I don't even know if the stairs in the background are real. Because I didn't see anyone walk up and down them.
A lot of production value is now going into this to make it more event-like and not so much like summit like we're used to seeing. So yeah, I agree. Like I also didn't dive into this tournament with it being a long weekend and just having other things to do. So I
Mhm.
kind of missed more than I would have liked to here. Um, but Vitality did come out on top, and I know, looking at the stats, Zywoo was a monster in this tournament, and this is he was one of the surprise players we talked about going into this year of somebody that could really take it to the next level, and it's good to see them kind of rolling a little bit right now.
Well, Liquid dropping that one 2-0. So we'll see. The next Summit event, I think, is coming up next month, in a couple of weeks. I guess now we're pretty much at the end of May. And it's going to be the Smash Summit. So that's Melee. And that's always a good one because that group of guys are they're goofy. So that's just normally more fun to begin with. So looking forward to that. We do have the Pro Leagues wrapped up, or at least the finals, so we know who's all going to be there. An ESL Pro League, that's coming up in a couple weeks, June 18th to the 23rd. Some notables
Who's
there.
not going to be in it?
Cloud9 will be there. So that's just as surprising of who is not in it, in my opinion. And Na'Vi failed to qualify for the finals.
FaZe needs to take that money that they're saving on Tfue and buy Simple out of that contract. Like, this has got to be the worst run team in all of esports.
What FaZe needs
Just
to
for
do is call up Tfue and be like, look, before you're out of this org, we're taking all that money that we were supposed to be taking.
and gonna go
and
buy
then
Simple
buy
right
Simple.
now.
Simple
I mean,
will leave.
like, this guy is by far the best player in the world, and this team continues to fail and fail and fail, and it's gonna be so depressing the day Simple retires from Counter-Strike and he had never won a championship. So I mean, you see positive signs from this team every once in a while, and then you see the other end of it, and it's just too much back and forth for the talent that he has. And so at this point, I'm ready for this like experiment with Navi to kind of end, and I want to see him go onto an international team, and I really want
I
to
don't
see
even know if you
him
could say
win.
if it's an experiment. Like, this has been Na'Vi for a while now.
You know what I
It's-
mean? Like this
yeah.
Navi, this whole Navi thing is just, it's not it. Like I wanted it to work for him because it was cool with him going to the team that he loves,
That
grew
was
up
his
loving.
team. Yeah, it was his
But-
hometown team. And I'm sure that sucks for him, though. I feel for Simple. Like,
Yeah,
no one wanted that team to work more than him. Like, I promise you that. We've talked to him about it, right? He's even
We've done a
stiff-armed
Hori-
Nuge after a loss before.
I said Hori. We've done a previous episode called The Story. I said the Hori. The story of Hiko. I would love to do the story of Simple at some point.
Yeah.
Because this guy's story from where he started off with the ban and then the issues that he had to now really being one of the good guys in the community and one of the best players to play this game ever. It would just really, again, to see where they're at, crazy.
ECS finals, those are actually coming up soon. June 6th is when they will kick off. That one's smaller. You got MIBR, Astralis is there. Complexity will be there as they take over for Rogue because Rogue kind of ceased there. Funny enough, Ninja is in these finals, and yet they are in the relegation series for ESL. So funny how that can just work out, where you're in the
Yeah.
finals for one league, and yet you're being almost relegated in the other. And I'm not going to lie. I watched the matches for these. I wasn't as invested in the regular season for these because their way they did their formats now, to me, are really confusing. I get them mixed up, and it's just really weird. If a listener has like a ECS and ESL format for dummies, just shoot it over my way because I definitely need it. But that will be fun and interesting to see what happens there. We'll talk about that more, though, because those are still kind of a ways out. Gambit is stepping down. Not stepping down. They're taking a break from CSGO. Their active roster is being put on hold. Former major winner.
Yeah, since then they've lost Adren, they've lost Hobbit, they've lost Zeus, so it's a team that we don't really even recognize anymore in terms of that championship team to now. So not surprising because they were never going to be able to kind of reacquire that talent within the way they want to, the way they want to run that Oregon. So They like to keep it in a certain demographic, and that's also not going to be possible. Not enough talent, and so yeah, for them to step down, it is a bummer. You don't see that too often, but we are seeing it a little bit more and more within CS. Like it's just expensive, man. It's just expensive to maintain an average CS:GO team.
And even more too, when you think of all the more and more tournaments that pop up, like Blast Pro Series. I mean, if they're only 6-team events and you have to be invited to them, are
Good
they
luck.
inviting a team like Gambit? Like,
No.
no, they're not. So it's
No.
just difficult to maintain that. What else is in CS:GO here?
PETA is the head coach for Ninjas in Pajamas. He is going to be playing for Dennis, unfortunately, at the DreamHack Masters Dallas. That's a real bummer because Dennis had also just come back from a hiatus and had been playing well. Ninjas had started to kind of come into form. And again, like Dennis, white, European, white, European.
Name Dennis.
Name is Dennis. How are you having visa issues, bro? You're not coming from like some oddball country, you know. You, I can say it like not coming from like a Muslim or Indian country where there's like questionable. And not to say Indian has any questionable people, but you know what I'm saying. Like there's just no reason he should be having visa issues. I don't understand how it's like a continuous thing with people from Australia and you're seeing it from people from Europe and obviously Russia, China, like everybody seems to be having visa issues
It's
and
just
it's
America,
killing
don't
some
you
of
know?
these teams. I don't get it, man. It just
That's
sucks.
what I'm
So
told. I'm
anyways,
just told that's why there can't be any tournaments in America.
PETA will be filling in for him, and it's unfortunate because this is going to be, one of the bigger tournaments they'll be attending this year.
Overwatch. Everyone was hoping for this long break that things would get mixed up, right? And the commissioner leaving was not one of them. But everyone was really hoping for a 2-2-2 format. 2 tanks, 2 supports, 2 DPS, mandatory. Make position play a thing in Overwatch. Market around those DPS players like they're your quarterbacks and like they're the star of your league like a DPS player is, and move on with it, right? Just accept the fact. But Blizzard is so stubborn in their way of, I'm going to get worked up talking about it. Apparently it's not happening though. They're still going to stick with the normal, hey guys, just do your thing, and it's going to be goats, and people are still going to complain about it. I remember in Discord one time, me and some listeners were talking about a 2-2-2 format, and some of them were like, no, that would break the game. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know who also said would break the game is putting hero lock in. But guess what? That made the game better. Like, you're telling me, like, at one point in time, people were saying that, no, you should be able to play as many of the same heroes as you want. And back then, the meta was 2 Winstons, 2 Tracers, 2 Lucios. Every freaking map. It was awful. Blizzard said, well, that's the way we wanted it to be played. And then Blizzard said, well, nope, we lied. Let's put a hero lock in. Now, people and Blizzard are telling us the same thing. Nope. 2-2-2 is not the way the game is supposed to be played. Just admit that the game is organic and it can change. And you don't know what's best for it, Blizzard. Put 2-2-2 in. Just do it. It will be more exciting.
I agree.
But it's not happening right now. It will eventually. It's going to happen eventually. No doubt in my mind. It might start in contenders for them to test it out, but it's going to happen.
Better do it soon. There's not many contender teams left.
Right? At this rate, everyone's going to be out of it. In other news, FaZe Pt2 announces the FaZe Pt2 Pro Series for Apex. Were you expecting this, Anuj?
Hell no. And
Are
I'm like
you
really
excited?
I am excited, but I also still need Respawn and EA to like help this game along. Like this is not going to be what saves the game, right? Like most people that play these games are not esports viewers. So like the casuals have all left this game in the masses. So I am very excited for this for this setup. I really want to see this game do well.
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed the game while I was playing it. I'm no longer playing it. But yes, this is a really good first start. I still think this needs to be followed up by some major movement from the developers to keep this game fresh and alive. I don't care what it is. I don't even care if it's this stupid, like, getting us some badass looking cosmetic stuff into this game to really just at least give it some buzz. But ideally, I want another map. do some cool stuff. Like you have a tournament available to you. This is your opportunity.
is a
Because if
good
it doesn't
start,
work
though.
out, it is with big name teams: 100 Thieves, Cloud9, Complexity, CLG, Dignitas, Fnatic, G2, Gen G, Misfits, NRG, T1 Esports, and TSM.
And this is
Name a
so
small
the way
team
they
in
did
that.
it is they said so far. Teaser, Echo
Yeah,
Fox also conveniently just signed an Apex roster. So you might
yeah.
be seeing Echo Fox thrown in there. Like you said, these are not chump orgs joining this. Now,
No,
whether or
it's
not
all the big
EA and
boys.
Respawn are paying them to do it, that's yet to be seen. Looking at you, Paladins. But I think it is a good start. It makes sense on why maybe they were so adamant of like, look, guys, we're going to put stuff in the game, but we want to make sure it's good. We want to make sure it's running smoothly and working. This would make sense if it was in the works for a long time. Again, this is where transparency would help. People would be a little bit more understanding if you gave us like a roadmap of like, look, we're going to have maps in. Because I still play Apex and I still enjoy it. Not as much as I used to, but, you know, I get on once or twice a week. I still think it's the best BR out there at the moment as far as just like competitiveness goes. But again, was not expecting this at all. At all.
No.
So pretty cool. And Face
It
It doing
starts
it
May
too.
31st, so it's not too far away either.
Mhm.
Like you'll see this live for the summer. So
It's also nice seeing that Face It is doing it and not Respawn or EA. You know, like
yeah.
if it was Respawn or EA, I wouldn't have been as excited because I'm like, all right, the dev is
Look, there's
pumping up their
more
own
more
tournament.
buy-in, right? We have more buy-in from a third party org
Yeah.
like Face It. So
I think a third party doing it kind of pumps the tires up a little more.
yeah.
Real quick, just a few other things. A lot of e-news today, man. I guess it's a long weekend, so that would happen. League of Legends is coming to mobile.
Crazy. That's a great idea. Like it seems like such a MOBAs seem like such a
Kind of funny that it's
perfectly
not like
suited game.
I don't know why because I read that and I was like, huh. There are MOBAs on cell phones.
Yeah.
So it is kind of weird. And League of Legends, the graphics fit right in to the mobile style.
No, it's perfect. I it'll be fun, especially as long as accounts are connected and all that stuff, right?
Of
Like I
course,
want to have
yeah. Don't
all
let
my
me
characters.
don't
and,
make
like,
me. I mean, I don't play
yeah,
League.
don't do
but
something crazy here. But yeah, I'm I think
I
it's a
wouldn't
good
mind
idea.
some
I think it's a
crushing
move that should
some
have happened
ARAM
sooner.
while waiting at work or something.
Or dropping off some deuces on the 8th floor, like dude, I would definitely hop into an ARAM game.
Just taking on some. And it's like, Nuge, what? Why are your restroom breaks taking so long?
This kind of feeds into the next part of e-news here. This is why they are taking so long.
It is a good segue. It has been officially deemed by the American Health Association, whoever does this, I don't know. Gaming addiction is officially considered a disease.
Pro, con, positive, negative thoughts?
So
Quick
longtime
thoughts?
listeners of the show know that I'm a pretty level-headed thinking guy. I get it. I know a lot of people were out. Just how could they say that? Well, I guess I have a disease. Well, I guess I could file for disability now because they know that gaming is an addiction. And I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes there, Sally. Like, no, they're not talking directly about you. But guess what? There are people who can suffer from addictions. Like, guess what? You know, I'm not a drinker, but I have drank alcohol. That doesn't mean like, well, I guess because I'm not addicted to alcohol, no one is addicted to alcohol. Therefore, you can't be addicted to it, and it's not a disease. So deal with it.
Look, like a level-headed person in this situation should be telling you that, yes, absolutely, gaming addiction is a real thing.
Thank you.
If gaming, if you've ever seen or known somebody that grew up where they changed their social life, their grades in school started dropping, like they weren't coming to class anymore because they were busy raiding or playing WoW 14 hours a day and couldn't leave it. Like, yes, like anything else, there's a porn addiction out there, there's alcohol and drug addiction out there. It's no different than anything else. Like,
If anything can evoke a emotional feeling, 99% of the time there's going to be some addiction led with it.
And it's not a knock on gaming or esports. Like, it has
No.
nothing to do with that. It's just showing that there are people that suffer from different addictions, and gaming can easily be one of them. So this is not going to hurt gaming in any way. Nobody needs to freak out. There's not going to be timeline limit,
Right.
like
Yeah.
time
The
limits
government's
or
not
anything
gonna
like
come and
that.
take your computer
Like
away. Like,
it's
chill out.
just look, to people that have it, it's real. I'm sure we honestly all know somebody that has
You know what?
had
If
some
anything,
form of it
people
at
should
some
be
point.
acting the exact opposite. They should be like, you know what? This is pretty awesome for the gaming community now, because now for people who are addicted to gaming, can't find help and have a good backing for it. Before,
Yeah.
people would be like, just stop playing the game. You need to get off your computer. And like now they could be like, well, actually, no. No, dude, it's not just as simple as getting up and walking away. For a lot of people, it is. Just like alcohol or drugs or porn or sex or gambling. I go to the casino and I gamble, and to me it's fun. I walk away and I know when to walk away. For other people, they don't know when to walk away. Gaming is fun. I know when to walk away.
I don't have the time. It's a problem.
Maybe you should see maybe you should see a doctor.
I might have to. I might have a problem.
So it's weird. It's weird to me that people like were so angry about this. It's like they were taking a personal attack, and to me, I'm
I
like,
feel like everyone that plays games a lot is addicted to gaming. Like that's not the case. There's a difference, guys.
I'm not
Relax.
addicted. You're addicted. It's just I don't know. I thought it was an interesting note to bring up on the show, and I don't know. Maybe we're just old, Anuj. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe our
I'm
listeners
old
feel
'cause
different.
10:30 and I'm about to fall asleep. So yeah. we
So,
are old.
anyways, if you feel differently, let us know on Discord or our Twitter at the Center Ring or anything like that. We would love to hear from you. But with that being said, that is the show. That is episode 159. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you for sticking around. If you listen to the whole thing, whether you didn't or not, love you all the same. Appreciate it. Let us know what you thought at the Center Ring on Twitter. Again, leave a review on iTunes or anything else that you might be listening to us on. We appreciate it. Join our Discord. The link is on our Twitter profile. Let us be a part of the conversation, right? There's a lot of people in there. It's a good time. If you ever see us in voice chat, feel free to stop by. Say hi. In Twitch chat, Zen, thank you for sticking around. Border, you were in here. I saw you talk at one point. And Jazzy Josh. Okay, I saw you too. Thank you for stopping by on Twitch, saying hi. We appreciate it. We will be back next week. I don't know. It's going to be delayed. So just keep an eye on Twitter because DreamHack throws everything off because we got people flying in and all that good stuff. So it probably won't be Monday because I'll definitely need a recovery day, but it will be next week. But for Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see ya.
FaZe the up.